everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Longley's Line Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Longley. Remember to like, follow, subscribe on all of those social medias. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for our show, Light Style Studio for the studio here. And as you guys know, we always bring on different guests from all over the entertainment industry. And when we were just audio, I had my guest, Jeramie Lu, who is back again. Jeramie, thank you for being here.
Yeah, buddy, this is good. You're getting big time now, so
far, so good.
I'm excited for it.
Just past 50 subscribers.
Oh my God,
we're growing
dude.
And getting up there.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, that was better than my podcast. I mean, I don't even know if I tracked it, but
it wasn't that during like more of the COVID times,
yeah.
So it's like everything's on Zoom.
Yeah, everything was Zoom. That's kind of hard. And, and I was more about how many episodes I can get in rather than like the content.
Yeah.
And I was focused towards businesses for COVID. But yeah, that was a whole long time ago. Now I'm happy that I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, it can be really time consuming while you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's fun while you're doing it. And then you're like, okay, now I've got 6, 7, 5, like all of these other things set up. And you're like, and I've got to edit it too.
Right.
And put it together and make it look snazzy.
I know, but now you have like a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're making it happen. So that's way better.
I'm hoping because the show, mainly has all of our local people, but since so many different acts come through Reno, I'm really trying to put the word out there. It's like, oh, we've had this many people come through and these bands and this, and then other associations like a comic could come in, or like a big band can come in, or Jeremy Renner or Steve Austin, somebody like that who kind of lives in this area.
Oh, I have a good Jeremy Renner story. But yeah, no, that's you never know where your next break's coming from. Yeah. And also, like, I look back at my photography like 16 years ago and to where I'm at now, and I did some things back then where I was like, how did I even survive? Like, how did I do that?
Why did people pay me?
Exactly.
But before we get going into everything, go ahead and promote all your socials, where you want everybody to find you, anything like that.
I mean, to keep it simple, if they just go to my website, jeramielu.com, it links out to everything. But I'm a huge Instagram, Facebook user, and I don't do Threads, I don't do X, but yeah, just the website, and you can find me for everything. Just keep it simple.
That's how mine is too. I have Threads and X, but it's mostly football.
Yeah, I don't even have that. Yeah, I just went on there to be like, cool. I think I got 1,000 followers right when Threads started, and I just deleted the app. It was just nothing. Like, I don't know. I can't follow X that well. I'm just not. I'm a big I go on for certain things, but I'm not a scroller.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I just so I post and bail. Yeah, that's just my thing. I'm not a good social media person. I just want people to look at my stuff and book me, but like I don't want to go through your stuff and
I don't care to overly interact.
Yeah,
I'm just here.
Yeah, I'm not
post my stuff.
That's exactly what it is.
Do it.
But that's
And then when you were talking about back in the day, where it's like preparation meets opportunity, and that's kind of how things form. As long as you are consistently doing it, then you can grow.
Right.
And keep going.
Right. And yeah, like I said, you never know where the next thing's coming from or where you're going to develop later on, right?
Yeah, which is always fun. And to go back to the early days, where are you from originally? For those that haven't heard just the
I'm
audio.
born and raised. In fact,
Reno.
your studio right now is on Sullivan. This is the area I grew up in as a kid.
Really?
So yeah, my dad had a nail shop down the street from here. There used to be a place called Shopco, which if you're not from here, don't know, but Sparks Middle's over here, and
wasn't there a Kmart right there?
The Kmart was over here, and my dad's nail shop was just down the street from there, so we would walk from his nail shop to Kmart and Shopco. That's kind of my thing when I was like 4 or 5. So I'm born and raised in Sparks. I live in South Reno now, but yeah, I haven't left. Built a family, went to Reed High School, so I'm as local as you can get, which is kind of built my brand. It's built my business.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, so I don't know where. I don't know if we can leave or when we can leave, or how we would do that. But ultimately, this is home. Yeah. This whole area.
I feel it too.
Yeah, you're from here?
Not originally.
Right.
But I've been here longer than I've been anywhere else.
Got it.
So I moved to Reno when I was 7.
Yeah.
And we moved to Spanish Springs before Spanish Springs really was anything. Yep. We had an Albertsons, a 7-Eleven, a Round Table.
Oh, La Posada, that area?
Yeah. That was really it.
Where did you move from then?
Los Baños, California.
Los Baños.
Yeah.
The bathrooms?
Yep.
Got it.
We're this little farm town nobody's ever heard of. But if you're going down the 5 and you're going 85 It's right over in the middle.
Oh,
Over
interesting.
Here. Just a random little spot
Yeah.
that we were from. And my folks actually got married in Reno.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
they eloped, came up to Reno, liked the area, and then I was
And then they're like,
7.
we're staying here forever.
Pretty
This
much.
is our home now.
We moved up here. My grandparents moved up here. My aunt moved up here. My other grandma moved up here. So we have everybody except like an aunt and uncle that don't live up here.
Yeah, a certain amount of time. That works.
Yeah. So
That's
then
really
I
cool.
mainly just say I'm from here
Got it.
most of the time because I've seen it when, like, just pointing out the Kmart. Nobody would have known that there was a
Right.
Kmart over there, or
Yeah.
that the Save Mart that's down in Spanish Springs was an Albertsons.
Yeah, well,
beforehand.
Albertsons, bought all the Save Marts, or Save Marts bought all Albertsons out. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I've seen this place grow. Our house was on Pyramid and McCarran.
Oh, okay.
So that
Yeah.
corner, there's a church there now. The house is still there. But that's where
But now it's that
Yeah.
church that's over there.
yeah, now I grew up there. So,
And when you were younger, kind of growing up in the area, what did you want to do for a living? Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do?
I actually don't even know. I just turned 40 this year. So when I was younger, it's a long time ago. I can't I don't know. Like I always knew that that I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of broad, but like I don't know. I knew that I was going to be successful no matter what I did. I just didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Was it the kind of entrepreneurial ship of like your dad owning a nail shop?
Maybe.
Right there?
Yeah. I mean, like I never saw people working 9 to 5, but I knew that people worked. So like my dad would go to work at like 8 a.m. Like, so our job was to get to school, get home. Like my grandma lived with us 6 months out of the year. So then she would just be home, but it was a different time. So we could go to the bus stop, go to school, come back, come home, do our own homework. And my dad would come home at like 8 or 9 p.m.
Right.
And then he would be gone in the morning before I left, and he owned a nail shop. So I knew that we had to work a lot, I guess, in my brain, which is kind of what my work ethic is now. But I didn't know, I wasn't like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a policeman. I had no inclinations of that at all.
Yeah.
I just knew that whatever I was going to do, my job was to make money and be successful. And there was no opposite of that.
Yeah. Where you just knew you wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And then like going throughout high school, did you have, sports or theater, anything that
no.
kind of happened
I
while
was
you
in
were there? Just
choir.
kind of,
I was in choir. And shout out to Mr. Lorenzen for not putting me in intermezzo, which was like elite choir. But like I'm still resented to this day. I felt like I could have made it. I tried out, but he's like, no, you're just going to be in choir. And like it was intermezzo, so whatever.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and I didn't make it, and I think it transformed my whole life. I was into cooking. I was into culinary arts in high school. And then, in fact, I did a little bit of it's called Regional Technical Institute, where you go to a different location, and I got college credit for cooking.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember going to college and wanting to be in the hotel industry. So I wanted to be in hotel management. I wanted to be in that world. I think I wanted to be a bigwig in something.
Hotels are everywhere.
They're everywhere. And also, like, we live in Reno, so I was like, I can go to Vegas and then be like a bigwig in Vegas.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, the passion wasn't there. The passion for me was that status, that stature, if you will. So I think, but there was no I don't know. I mean, I wanted to own a restaurant at one time. I wanted to be the back of the house, but then I was better in the front of the house. So, I worked at a bunch of different restaurants and I did really well. I could easily make good tips. 16 to 22-year-old guy pulling $400 a night when I was bartending and all that. And I felt like I was doing it. But I was working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the goal is never to work for somebody else in my brain. I want to be the controlling of my own destiny.
Yeah, where it's your
It's me. If I
business,
fail, I failed because of me, not because AT&T went broke and I invested all my time in AT&T. No.
Yeah. And now you got to figure it out.
Yeah, people can work for people all day. You just have to know if you're either an employee or an employer. And I know that I'm an employer. Like I'm just never going to work for somebody else. So I'll figure it out.
And then while you're going through it, working the odd jobs as it comes around, what did you always think you had like an eye for photography?
No,
or did
not at all.
that kind of just randomly?
It just showed up. I'm not an artist. I'm not a creative person. I tell people that all the time, and then you always get like that. No, you are, and I'm like, no, I'm analytical. I like numbers. I know that when I turn my camera or I put a setting to something, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just math, right? And Asian people, we're good at math.
So they say.
It's true. It's like a gene. So I like shooting because I like the beginning, during, and after. I like being able to take that raw image and then converting it and editing it into something great. And I think that's what makes a photographer, right? It's not the taking the picture and then putting a preset and then, oh, look, the Lake Tahoe is now brown.
Yeah, where they go through and analyze and make it look better.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. Shooting is only 40% of the job.
Yeah.
The rest is 60% is editing and delivering, right? It's a final imagery. So as far as knowing if I was a photographer or not, no. Like I just bought a camera one day and started shooting, and then I kind of built it.
Did you have a reason behind?
We had kids.
Oh, okay.
My
you
camera
just wanted
broke.
to capture.
Yeah. Camera broke. I remember we have 4 kids. We adopted our first one, and then we were giving birth to our second child, but our first birth. And I had this Canon ELPH little point and shoot camera, and it broke. And my wife was in the hospital, and I was like, all right, well, I have a little bit of time. So I went to Best Buy, and then I was like, I have $400. What can I get for this? Yeah. And the dude that sold it to me is actually who I share my studio with now, Marcello.
Oh, how funny.
Weirdly enough. And so he was the general manager at the Legends Best Buy. And he was like, bro, for $400, why don't you just get a camera, like a DSLR? This comes with like 2 lenses. And he sold me the Sony A300, which is really crappy of a camera now, but back then it was okay.
Yeah, still relatively newer.
Ish, right? But it was still low end. For $400, I got a camera, wide lens, and a long lens.
Okay.
And I went home we got sent back from home from the hospital. So I remember that night just shooting Corona bottles. I had Corona beer bottles everywhere down at the bottom. And my images were coming like shit. They were coming like crap, right? So I then decided that I'm not a photographer. I can't do this. Photography is horrible. And then I went to Flickr, put the camera in, and I started seeing people shoot amazing images with the gear that I had. So then I realized that I'm going to learn. And then I just taught myself. So it wasn't to become a photographer. It was like, how do I get better using this thing? Because again, it was math. It was
realizing it's more than just point and click.
Exactly.
There's more that
goes if I bring this light here, if I do this, if I change this setting to this, I do this. And so that's ultimately where my photography came from.
And then just getting better, trying to make sure your images look good.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, what's the point? Like, why do we wake up every day if we're not trying to do something better for ourselves?
Yeah, if you want it to look nice and good instead of just, here's what's here, I guess.
Right.
Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked out. It was, that's 16, 17 years ago, and now I've been shooting professionally for 15 years.
And when did you think, at any point after you decide, well, I need to get better at it, did you have a point where you were like, I can make a career out of something? Or what kind of came from it as you started to see yourself getting better?
I was a massage therapist at the time, so I actually had a career. And I was doing okay on it. It was about to hit the 2008 recession. And so I had more time to shoot because people didn't have money to book for massages.
Yeah.
So I was just shooting, right? I was just shooting on the side, and then a couple I was just taking pictures, throwing them on Facebook every day. And people were like, hey, can you take a picture of my family? And somebody's like, hey, can you take a picture of my engagement? I remember responding to a Craigslist ad when Craigslist was like not murder.
Yeah.
And
it was more just a little sketchy.
Yeah. And it was free to post.
Yeah.
Now it's like I went on there and I was like $1 to post. I'm like, what's the even point? So I shot an engagement session for like $100, and then I ended up shooting their wedding for $300 for 6 hours, which is like unheard of. It just got to the point where people were paying me. A little bit. And I wasn't charging for photography. I was charging for gear. I was like, oh, I want to buy this new lens. So it's going to be like $250. So I was like, I'll do your family shoot for like $100 and we'll go towards that fund, because I had my career.
Yeah.
I wasn't licensed. I wasn't insured. I was just I was just that buddy that took pictures of people.
I know a guy.
Yeah. And then ultimately I figured that I was liking it more. So I went full force and quit massage one day. I think it was like April of 2009. And I was like, I have to do photography full time, and, got all my stuff done, made it happen.
And what was your first step into getting there after you quit the job and say, all right, we're going full head of steam here?
Right.
What was the first thing you did?
I mean, I kept doing what I was doing. So I was focused on any and everything that I could shoot. So I was shooting newborns. I was shooting pets. I was shooting boudoir. I was shooting maternity. I have a niche now that I like shooting, but I would say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I always tell people this day, there's nothing wrong with saying yes to every job as long as you can make it work for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't
As long
mean
as you're comfortable doing it too.
If somebody walks in and says, hey, can you shoot this bottle of Gentleman Jack for me for free? You don't say yes to that. You say, I'll do this, but I need this as compensation. I need this. And that's a hard trick to learn. But like, I've booked so many gigs where I did not think that I was good enough to do it, did it, killed it, and then got referrals from it.
Yeah.
And that's the power of saying yes, right? I think a lot of people are like, I don't shoot bottles, but like, you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
And then
you might have a knack for it.
Yeah. So it's from like a restaurant industry, like, have you ever gone to like a restaurant and you had like a really good server who's like just said yes to everything, right? They get you the sodas before that you ask for it. Or if you're like, hey, can you make like this kids meal? I know you don't have kids meals on the menu, but can you do this instead? And they say, let me go figure it out. And they come back and say yes.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where like everything's possible. It's just decide if you want to be a jerk or not.
Yeah. I've been a server before, so I know exactly.
Everybody should
mainly
serve.
just hang. That's what we always tell the kid.
Yeah.
It was like because she's looking to try and get her first job once she starts driving. So we're like, if you're going to do anything, work in the food industry.
Right.
So you have to be a server, a busser, a host, whatever you can do that first. Do retail.
Right.
So you know all of the stuff. You love going shopping. Now see firsthand what they have to deal with.
Right.
And all the crazy people. And just do those.
I
Then
think
you'll see.
Customer service industry is the most underrated aspect of life. Being able to see a crazy person come in and then make them leave happy has to be the most rewarding thing ever. Not see a crazy person in and then make them leave crazier. If you can do that, you can do anything, right? Because like that's just life.
Yeah, you see that one person coming in already crossed, just pissed the whole time, and then you just see what they want. You're like, okay, you got it. And then you're bringing it, making sure that they're happy the entire time, and then they're like, oh, thank you. They're relaxed.
Right.
Arms are back, hanging out.
That's it, man. That's ultimately it. And then if you can take that in any industry, that's going to help out a ton.
Yeah, because then you can use the skills from that, and then it helps making you talk to people.
Right.
Even that, just getting out of your comfort zone and having to deal with stuff.
Right.
And then you're saying yes to everything, starting to slowly grow, get a little bit better.
Yeah.
When did you kind of realize the going down weddings was the path?
At the early part of my career, I reached out to 5 wedding photographers. And my first year I did that wedding. And I was like, okay, cool. I can see how the money's made here.
Yeah.
But I didn't know much about weddings, right?
Sure.
And so I reached out to 5 wedding photographers and I said, hey, my name's Jeramie. And I was actually sent from an email, gotknots@charter.net, which was my massage, right? Got knots. It was cool.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so I reached out and I said, hey, and I sent the same email. My name's Jeramie. I want to get in the wedding industry. I would love to shadow you, learn from you. Any tips and tricks you can, please reach out and let's make it happen. 3 of them didn't respond at all.
Sure.
1 of them told me to drop dead. And then 1, which at the time sucked, said, yeah, $500 an hour and you can shadow me. And I was like, I don't have $500 an hour. Yeah. And also, I don't want to do that. But at then, I was like, this is a jerk. But then now thinking about it, that's the only person that would give me a chance. Regardless, none of these people, 3 of these people are still shooting to this day.
Sure.
But they don't know that I emailed them and they emailed me back. Or they didn't email me back, right? So 2 of them didn't email me. 1 was the $500 a person.
Yeah.
And all of them I've interacted with since then. But they still have no idea I sent that email. Because I've never been like, hey, remember that email I sent you? I knew I wanted to get into weddings, but I did not know how much because I didn't know weddings. I had my wedding at that time, and I was like, that was kind of it.
Yeah, and the photographer was there.
Right. And I was like, all right, so I'm just going to shoot brides, grooms, getting married, but the intricacies of weddings, way more detail than people think. There's no way that anybody can just go and run a wedding and shoot a wedding. Most times the photographers become, and this is always a joke, but most times photographers become the day of coordinator. And only because we need to get what we need to get.
Yeah.
And if we just walk around and go complete lifestyle or complete photojournalistic, we're not going to get what we need to get, and people are going to be unhappy.
Yeah, because everybody's already they already have the gears moving.
Right.
So they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then you're there for them.
Right.
Specifically to make the shots turn out and have them remember what's going on.
Ultimately, if I don't get the shot, I'm the one in trouble.
Yeah.
not them.
Because that's why you're there.
Yeah.
There
But
to help
then
take
I'm
the
the
shot.
easiest one to blame. Like, oh, you didn't get a shot of this. You didn't get a shot. I mean, I just had a wedding that I shot in Edgewood last month, and she wrote me a really long email on how much she hated me, how much she hated my photography. She didn't understand things. And this was probably one of the most difficult brides we have ever shot, ever worked with. The entire team has ever worked with.
The super bridezilla.
Yep. And I was, and I've only had one bridezilla before that, but like I did everything in my power to make her happy. And in the end, she still, she still came after me. So sometimes you can't make people happy, but I did what I could.
Yeah, you try your best.
In the time that I could.
It's hard because you're not going to make everybody happy.
No.
It's like not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to love you, or not everyone's going to hate you either for everything that comes
Which
to
is
it.
fine.
People are people.
Yeah, but it's still crappy.
Did you have, when you now are going down the wedding path and you kind of got to shadow, realize there's a little more intricacy to everything going on, what was the first wedding experience like that you can remember? Where
So
you were kind of on
I
your
did
own?
not get to shadow because I emailed them all and it just was a no.
And it was at 500.
Yeah, so I taught myself again. A lot of Google, a lot of YouTube, right? I remember watching a lot of YouTube videos on like how to use strobes, how to use off-camera flash. And back then it was all cords and plug into walls. And if you wanted to take it on location, you have to buy this giant generator battery to take a light out. And now it's all battery powered. No, it's amazing now. So it's way easier to learn now. But my first wedding was a gay wedding. It was a lesbian wedding, and it was at the city Arch of Reno, City of Reno, something like that. One of those dive places in Reno.
Yeah.
And I shot their engagement and their wedding for $150 total.
Okay.
Which is like, I think I made maybe $3 an hour after all said and done, right? But I was like, it's experience and I'm learning.
Yeah.
So their wedding was and they're not married anymore. Actually, one of them, I shot her second wedding, and she. And the reason I said it was a gay wedding because she got married again, but she got married to a man the second time around. And
It's all fluid now.
it's all fluid now, but like back then my brain couldn't comprehend. I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. But also it was tough for me because it was a lot of photographers now will shoot hetero weddings all day. They don't know how to pose gay weddings because they're like, hey, there's two women, there's two men.
Yeah.
They have a pose for a bride and a pose for a groom.
Right.
What do I do if I have two brides? Like, how do I do it? And so I was able to work it out. Posing is my thing. But it was a fun wedding, really quick wedding. And then they had their reception at King's Buffet.
Oh, nice.
But they didn't reserve the room. So we all just walked in, sat down.
Yeah.
And it was like $7.99 a person. I paid for my own meal. And they had a cake. They were bringing the cake in. So they got their own cake with their faces on it, sat down, and we all just got food. And I just took a couple pictures in there, ate, and then left.
That's funny.
But I was thinking about it now, I'm like, they didn't even, like, we could have not had King's Buffet. If you know what King's Buffet is, it's a, I don't know, ghetto Chinese buffet that it's all over the world. It's weird to say that because we have buffets here in Reno that are pretty good.
It's like if you walk into a Sizzler.
Yeah, but like Asians.
Yeah.
And less health codes.
Well, I mean, Sizzler, that's,
Our Sizzler closed.
I don't think either of them really know what health codes are.
Right.
So they're just kind of, it's a buffet.
Yeah. We put it all
grab
on
them with your
display. Yeah,
hands.
this could be shrimp, could be steak, it could be all. There's one actually down the street here that we used to go to next to Grocery Outlet. I think it's still there.
I'm sure
when I was a kid. Yeah,
it's still thriving.
Yeah, it's right next to where Shopco used to be.
Germs don't die. They just kind of go away for a little bit.
Delicious. Delicious. No, but yeah, that's the first wedding I remember. And then, now I want to say I've shot maybe 1,000 weddings.
Now that you've kind of honed your skills and know what you're doing.
Right. And I will tell you that so I mentor photographers, and most of the things we mentor is on how-tos. It's not on actually photography. It's how to run a business. It's how to talk to people. It's how to price yourself.
How to market yourself.
Exactly. So you'll see me at a wedding, and although I'll be shooting all day, I'm managing everything. I shot your wedding.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times that
you had those two extra people that
so I
are
have
there
assistants,
learning.
interns, and so that's the best way to learn. And there's no way that anybody should shoot a wedding now, and I'm saying this now because I didn't do this, without joining or second shooting or something, another wedding, because it's not about photography anymore. It's about running a wedding. What happens if it's always the groomsmen who are just too vulgar and too saying things. And if I have a female assistant here, I'm like, are you comfortable? Are you because guys will talk like this.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be okay? You can't get too woke. You can't get too hurt that they're saying vulgar things. And then the girls will start talking. And then I'm a guy, so the girls will get a little more vulgar. Or they'll say things and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know girls talk like this.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to manage everything. Yeah, you have an old uncle who's going to hit on you and do it. Are you okay with that? Like, can you get yourself out of it without making a scene because you're still shooting a wedding?
That's where the customer service comes in.
That's where it is. You can't. Not everything can be a harassment clause where you're like, oh my God, this uncle touched my butt, I have to leave. You're still shooting a wedding.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing a lot of these posts on TikTok and social media where like it's 100% or 0%, like either do it or don't do it. And a lot of these younger female photographers are going on there and they're talking about, this is when you're allowed to leave. If somebody grabs your camera without telling you or asking you, you can just leave the wedding and be fine with it. And I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah, especially if it's not the people that paid you.
Exactly. If it's just a guest, I've had drunk guests grab my camera and try to take a picture of me. I work my way around it. Like I'll, if I need to get assertive, I'll get assertive, but I'll do it in a way that's like still comical, still fun.
Yeah, where you're still having fun with
right.
it.
The whole drinking at weddings thing right now is insane to me. No vendor should ever drink at a wedding ever. There's no reason to drink at work.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that are like, I just need the groom wanted to take a shot with me, so I took a shot with him. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
If my team's ever drinking at a wedding, they're done.
Yeah. Especially too, it's like wait until after if you know the people maybe.
Yeah.
If you wanted to hang out,
cool.
Do that then.
Yeah.
But you're on the clock.
But I don't have friends, so when I'm done, I'm leaving.
Especially if you've been there all day.
Yeah.
You're just
I'm like, well, it's their party. It's like, it's like, I get it. You have a great caterer and you're throwing a birthday party and at the end they're just hanging out. You're like, yeah, go have some food, whatever, hang out. But like, it's just weird for everybody.
Yeah, especially if you get a little too comfortable. Where it's like, well, we paid the photographer, and then when he was done, he ate all the food and he drank all the booze.
Well, and what is it? What happens? Like, dude, as soon as one image is bad or one thing happens, and they said, oh wait, he was drinking.
Yeah.
Oh, I took a shot with the groom. Yeah, but you were drinking and I lost 3 images, or like, his memory card collapsed or so whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a whole like thing now.
The little finite stuff.
Yeah, and then they'll start finding that. And I'm not going to give anybody a reason to come at me.
Yeah. With all of the weddings that you've shot, has there been a few that really stand out in your mind that have been just either fun in the greatest way because you got to travel, see something, do whatever it was, or the exact opposite, aside from the King's
my
Buffet?
Genoa weddings, I love Genoa weddings. That was your wedding. So I shoot a lot of Cabo. I did a couple East Coast weddings, and I like different locations, but there's no wedding that's like specific. I like the couples that I shoot.
Yeah.
I can be like, I did a wedding in Savannah, Georgia, and it was amazing. It was on a Sunday. Nice. It was a military wedding, and the hats and the people walking around, the no Asians around, which was really weird to me. There was not a single Asian person there.
Well, I mean, Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't think about it until I got there. I was like, there's no Asian people.
It's either black or white people.
That's it.
Mainly.
And a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so shooting a wedding there was a cool experience. Cabo, you're sweating around, but the light is beautiful. So there's no particular spot. Yeah, and you're in Cabo, and it's, I get 3 or 4 days to hang out with my wife, and then I take 1 day and I shoot a wedding. So it's a little multi-vacation kind of thing. But, there's just nothing specific that hits my brain because I'm on to the next wedding.
Yeah.
I'll do everything I can for my couple now. In fact, I just booked a wedding this morning that she'll be getting married in August. And she's from another wedding that I shot. She was a bridesmaid. And so, the thing is, she's been in other weddings since then, and she has come back to me.
Yeah.
So she's been a bridesmaid like 3 or 4. So that says a lot, where she's like experienced other photographers after mine, knowing that this is how photographers should be. So it's more about the couple, man, because it's just like you want to shoot for good people. You want to have fun with good people.
Yeah. And it's a big part of what you just said, where it's like the bridesmaid from a different wedding was the one that hired you. It's the same thing where it comes from like word of mouth and saying things like right after our wedding, a friend of ours, Andrew and Sarah, they got married. And they had you there because they had seen from our wedding and saw you there and was like, oh, reach out.
Right. Well, and that's referral based, right? I mean, it's like, but that's why you have to be like, I just did this post. I did a video on Instagram, but where I said you have to be on all the time. And a lot of people don't know what that meant, but like, I'm a one-person entrepreneurial business. If I decide to go out and start murdering babies, I don't know what else is worse than that, but
That's
like
pretty bad.
murdering twins,
At the same time.
I can't then expect to be like, hey, book me for your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, sorry, I was in a drunken rage and I was murdering babies, but like, please don't hold that accountable. My photography is still great.
Yeah.
We
Look
have
at
to
my
be on
skills.
at all times.
Yeah.
So I am on 24/7 unless I'm at home. So I'm an introvert by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm happy to be at home by myself, sitting in my car, editing. I'm happy to do all that. Once I'm out, I know that people are watching me. And I know that if I do or say or anything, if I talk to a girl inappropriately at a gas station, or if, you know, if my kids do something weird that I don't control well, or if I Karen up at a Target, it's going to come back to me.
Yeah.
And so you never know where your next opportunity is coming from. So you have to assume that everybody you talk to is that opportunity.
That makes
So I'm a little overly nice to a lot of people.
Yeah. Kind of have to be.
Yeah.
With how quickly not just word of mouth goes around, but how things go viral so quickly for the most mundane stuff.
Well, and it's like sometimes I'm not on TikTok, so I have Instagram Reels. If something were to go viral, it would be too late for me to say anything.
Yeah.
And do
you
anything.
have no control over it.
That's what it is. It's always a one-sided thing. So yeah, I mean, just got to be on all the time.
Yeah. When it comes to other lanes, so you found kind of your niche, what you're good at with the wedding portion of stuff. While you're still going down that lane, do you have other paths that you like to do?
Yeah, I feel like it all floats together though. So I shoot people, right? People are my bread and butter, but I'm a commercial photographer by trade. So I shoot for companies, I shoot clothing for companies, but a lot of my stuff involves people. So a lot of individuals in Reno have seen my work, they just don't know it's my work.
Right.
So like something may post up for St. Mary's or Renown on a billboard, or you go to the airport. I have like 3 billboards up in the airport right now as you're walking down.
Yeah.
If you can find them, cool.
That's got to be kind of cool too.
Yeah, my kids like it.
Where
but,
you're going through and you're like, I did that.
Yeah. And it can be something I shot a long time ago that's coming back. So I'll see stuff where like, you know, because we do commercial work all the time and we just shoot a bunch of stuff and we never know when it's going to be posted.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll have an internal editor, retoucher, or I'll do the retouching myself and just upcharge the fee for it. But yeah, I mean, my niche is people. I'm really good with people. I can shoot bottles. I can shoot product all day in the studio. It's fine. I like it, but it's just boring.
Yeah. You like the kind of more boots on the ground kind
so I
of
charge
thing.
more for stuff like that. I mean, I have a company in LA who he's making cologne right now, and he wants me to shoot bottles of cologne in a Louis Vuitton Gucci style, which is very high end. Water in the background. So we'll be doing that in the studio. We'll be setting it up and
Johnny Depp playing guitar in the background, something like that.
I just met like a couple that hung out with Kenny G last weekend. And I didn't believe him, and then they posted. She lives here in Reno, but like she posted a video, and Kenny G's just in the background, just like,
just hanging out.
Yeah,
what are we
like,
in Starbucks right now?
I'm like, yeah, they have some party, and I was like, no, I just went to the wax museum at Hollywood. We went to SoCal last weekend, but yeah,
And just hanging out with Kenny G.
I was with Kenny G too, but he was a wax guy.
Not as cool.
No,
Or maybe a little
with
cooler.
all the celebrities.
Yeah. Get a little Kenny G going at you.
I didn't know Kenny G was still alive, to be honest.
Honestly, I wouldn't be able to point him out in a crowd.
As long
No
as he's-
disrespect to Kenny G.
No, but
who's
only
the
if he's
man.
playing the instrument.
Yeah.
Right? If you're playing it, you're like, oh, that's Kenny G. But like if you're just walking down the street.
Yeah. It was like,
Yeah,
are you
he's
sure
this
that's not
curly-haired
Kenny
man.
G? He just asked me for change. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Like that can't be the right guy.
Yeah.
So you've got those couple of avenues that are cool for you. Is there anything that you haven't done that you want to?
Porn.
Like shoot wise?
Oh.
Yeah. I've seen
I'd
your
still
videos.
do porn, yeah. I've
only seen like 2 minutes of them, but you know.
that's all. That's more than
That's
I
all I
need.
need.
So, yeah.
Because then it starts buffering.
2 minutes wasn't me. It was not me. 30-second porn. Oh, TikTok can we do that? Just quick 30-second videos.
They
No,
do that actually.
Do they?
On like Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Like you'll go through things where I'll just be scrolling and it was like dog, football, boobs.
Oh, yeah. Before it gets taken down.
I don't even know if it gets taken down because they do this weird thing now where it's like they're still wearing clothes, but you can see through them.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like
The light shines behind.
and it's
girls,
like, I'm at my grandma's house. Why is this?
I know.
What are we doing
Well,
here?
so I follow everybody on Instagram that follows me back. It's just always what I've done because Instagram doesn't have a limit.
Yeah.
But like as soon as I open it up, like an image of a girl will show up. But I follow a lot of photography pages.
Yeah.
And so like
Same
they'll pick a
thing,
picture of a girl and they'll come up and my wife's like, who's that? And I'm like, I don't know. Just like moving along. I'm like, and I don't look at it that way. I'm just like, I don't know. But I think my wife's like, who's that girl?
It's Julie.
Why are you looking? I'm like, yeah.
Come on.
It's my client from yesterday. What are you doing? I took this
Obviously.
picture.
You're not on Instagram though.
There's nothing. I mean, so if you asked me 10 years ago, my dream job would have been, I want to shoot for Maxim. And not because it's like, so I'm a good commercial photographer. I'm good with shooting women and models. It's not because of the women and models. It's because of the consistent paycheck.
That makes sense.
If a company would hire me for $500,000 a year and say, shoot everything we want you to shoot 5 days a week, that would be like what I want to do.
Yeah.
So if it was like a fashion company or a magazine or something like that, you know.
The consistency of it
Yeah,
too.
Travel Channel or something that's like takes me all over the world and says like, shoot this. Although traveling sounds exciting, it's not as exciting for me now because like I'm a dad and don't want to watch my kids grow up. I don't want to leave them too long.
Don't want to be gone.
That's what I would like to do. But ultimately, I don't want to get too bored with what I do.
Yeah. Because routine can come with boredom.
Well, and it kills creativity.
Yeah.
Right? So like, you know, I don't wake up at the same time every day. My gym routine's not the same every day. I constantly need to change. Otherwise, I will stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because you get complacent in things.
Yeah. I mean, I only do 35 weddings a year. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So I do $35,000 wedding year, and I'm one of the highest charging wedding photographers in Reno, Tahoe area. Like my prices, but like my prices in Los Angeles are a joke.
Yeah.
So like I book a lot of SoCal weddings because Reno people don't pay that here, and it's just because of the area. Because we have so many of these photographers who are charging $1,000, $2,000 for a full wedding because they want to book that wedding so bad and they want to have 200 weddings in a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, like I want to do 35 weddings at $10,000, kill those weddings and move on.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, most of my work, the other 365, the other 330 days, I'm shooting other things because I shoot pretty much every day. I have something going on every day.
Yeah.
It works.
Just the glaze in your eyes every day.
Every day.
Because that's what comes
my
with
fault.
working for yourself too.
My fault. I book
You
it.
wanna
Like somebody's
keep it
like, I want
going.
to shoot. I'm like, I have this time available. Do you want to do this? Like after this, I'm going to Donner in the snow if it's going to snow.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, and then I have to go shoot something else. So
Have you ever, now that you've kind of been doing the photography for a while now, is there anything else that you want to dabble in? Like where you've got, you know, like you liked cooking before, you know, like is there anything else that you've kind of thought about maybe also?
We've talked about opening like not a restaurant. I like the thought of doing something mundane and repetitive. So maybe like opening up like a coffee shop or opening up like an ice cream bar or something like that where it's just like you come in, you make people happy, they leave, they pay you, done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always thought, and personal training for some reason. Yeah, I feel like I'd kill it as a personal trainer. I'm good at, you know, guiding people and telling people what to do. I feel like I have that sensibility where people trust me. And that's why I'm a good salesman. Like I'm a good entrepreneur because I can sell anything to anybody. So I feel like personal training would be fun within my limits.
Right.
I would just charge a lot more. But also I look at personal trainers charging now and I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I'm like, how much for a half hour? $60 for a half hour of training? You're just going to watch me work out?
Yeah.
I don't understand. So I won't do it. But I would charge like $100 an hour, something like that.
Try something yourself.
Yeah.
So you're like, maybe I could do this.
Yeah. But I could, that's the other, you know, a couple other things I would do. But other than that, I don't know what else I would do. But I fell into photography too, accidentally. So
yeah. So you never know be open to the opportunities if they come through.
yeah, maybe
Because
acting.
I've always thought about it too, where it's like I've had that entrepreneurial kind of mindset because my dad owned a business for a while.
Right.
And he had a roofing company in California
Yeah.
where they would take off the old roofs and then somebody else would come in and put the new shingles on.
So he just took them off?
Just took them off.
Oh, nice.
He would come through, take everything off, then the other companies would come in and put the new ones on. So just a couple hours, off, next house, off, and he would just do that.
Interesting.
All day. So he had that good company going on, but he was really small company. So then the bigger ones came in, ended up closing it down. And I've always thought that same thing of having my own kind of business where something always comes in. I've always wanted to own a country bar or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's
a constant need, a constant flow.
And you look at it too, for here, there's 2-3 country bars,
Right.
and there's constantly different 2-3 country bars.
Right.
Nothing stays consistent, or you find something where it's like, I want to open a restaurant or
Right.
something, you know. And I've always had that idea in my head of something,
Yeah.
some kind of business.
Well,
coming
you
through.
can. I mean, my wife does hair. She does interior design. So it's, she has constant flow of clients. I always thought that Cutco was a stupid business because they come to your house and they're like, these knives last forever. And I'm like, who wants them to last forever?
Yeah.
So
But then you sell them to them, and then they tell
Yeah.
somebody else, well, I just got these knives, and then word of
I
mouth.
feel like I could be like a massage therapist hitman.
Ooh.
Like as soon as you get your massage done, I would go and like hit somebody
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
While they're all relaxed, it was
Yeah,
like,
so they have to
uh,
come in earlier to get another massage.
But then you ask them while you're massaging them, so
Yeah.
who are you complaining about while I take these knots out? Here's my
Yeah.
card. And
Yeah.
just slip it underneath.
And just make it
show 'em.
happen. No, but that's it. Yeah. So, but speaking of that, photography, although is needed by a lot of people, we are an as needed basis, right? So I don't know what that word is.
In demand.
No, I just used it in a freaking post the other day, where people we're expendable, right? Like we are not. If you had $200 and you had to buy food, you had to buy drinks, you had to buy babysitter, you're not going to spend it on photography.
Yeah.
So it makes my industry a little harder.
Especially now
manage.
with everybody having their phones.
Right.
And
Oh yeah. They feel like they can do it, which you can't, guys. An iPhone will never become a photographer.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. Dude, did you see that people are doing remote photography headshots?
Remote.
Picture this. Close your eyes. You are shooting, you need headshots done, so you contact a company and you sit in front of Zoom. And what they do is they will screenshot you as you pose in the Zoom, and then they will edit that screenshot as your headshot. It's a whole thing.
Okay. That.
And I saw it on LinkedIn, and this girl does like 20 shoots a week, and people are paying her to sit in a Zoom call with her while she screenshots her screen, edits them, and delivers them. What's happening? Why are we doing this?
That doesn't.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean,
And it's distorted. The images look like crap because it's dependent on that person's camera.
I respect the gal doing it.
I
'cause
don't. I will find her.
You're making money,
Yeah.
but
I mean, what's she? And
the
that's the other
dumb
thing. She's
people
probably
that are
undercutting
going
us all.
for him. Oh,
she's,
yeah.
She's not charging anything for it. It's insane, man. But I think it stemmed from COVID.
Yeah.
And she just kept it going.
well, it's like, the same thing with the phones. It's like you see the commercials for iPhones now,
Oh, yeah.
and all they're doing
Oh,
is you can
shot
make a
with-
movie
Yeah.
with your phone.
It's like
You're
shot
like,
with the iPhone 15, and I'm like over here just. I thought you had like anti-shake.
yeah.
Why
It
is
was
my,
like,
why are my videos
well,
all shaky?
guess what? You also need a tripod and then a certain type of equipment for
Right.
everything. And it was like, oh, now it's perfect.
I know.
I thought it was just an iPhone.
And a professional editor.
No,
Don't forget about that.
no.
No, exactly.
I'll do it all myself because editing is so easy
Yeah.
for those people that have never done it
I
before.
think that's the drawback a lot of photographers forget is their retouching skills suck.
Yeah.
It's like I see so many just bad retouchers in the photography world, and there's companies that you can pay to retouch your photos now, and why not use that and charge more? But these photographers are like, no, I just did a preset, I bought a preset, and I just put it all on everything.
Yeah. They have
that's
companies
dumb.
for everything now.
Yeah.
And then with all of the work that you've got going on, staying busy with everything, do you have anything coming up that you're excited about? Like any kind of weddings or new ventures or anything of that nature?
No. I mean, so I have a retainer program that I do. So I have companies that I shoot for religiously. So like they get me for a set amount of hours every month, right? And I get a lot of different change from that, but I don't have anything really in the works right now that I'm too excited about. I mean, I have some travel plans coming up, but like it's still weddings. So no, nothing particular. There's nothing huge coming up. I mean, what the Best of Reno just started yesterday. Have you seen that? The Best of Reno for
I see it
RDJ?
come around, yeah.
Yeah, so I never vote on those.
I one time got put in for Best Actor, and I was like, oh, cool.
Didn't
'cause-
Renner win that year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm going up
Is that
against
cheating?
Jeramie
Yeah.
Renner. No big
I
deal.
feel like that's cheating.
I've been in 2 short films and commercials,
Yeah.
and he's Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. He was also born.
Yeah, he
Jason Bourne
was
for a
also
little
born
bit, yeah.
at one time and was a badass in that Tag movie.
I know. He didn't show up to the award ceremony.
Oh, shocker.
He should have. I've only shot one event where he was at. How much time do we have?
Oh, we're good.
Okay. I have so I was shooting this event for a charity. So I shoot a lot of charity events, and I shoot them for half off if anybody needs a charity photographer.
By the way.
Nonprofit. And so I get there early, and my name is Jeramie. And as soon as I get there, I find out that Jeramie Renner is going to go. They're like, we have to tell you something. We didn't want to tell you before. Jeramie Renner showing up, and there's like nobody in the room yet. It's just me talking to people. And then I guess the camera people knew, the GSR people knew, and that's where we were shooting. So the camera crew that's hired into there knew. And so I'm putting my gear on. I move myself to the corner of the room, putting my camera on, my belt on, and all that. And this guy like taps me on the shoulder. He's a camera guy, old guy, white hair, and he goes, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. He's like, I got to tell you, your resilience is amazing. I'm like, oh, well, thank you so much. He's like, I mean, like, the fact that you still do these types of events, it says a lot about you. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I do it all the time. It's a great organization, and I don't want to say the name of the organization, but like it's a great organization. They support the children and all that stuff, and I'm really happy to do it. And it was also like 7 a.m. It was like a pancake breakfast thing.
Yeah.
So I was shooting from like 7 to 11. So it was like 6:30 for me. It was like really early. And he's like, and he just kept talking to me, and as I'm putting my stuff on, and he can visibly see I have 2 cameras on, have a shoulder bag on, and he goes, yeah, he's like, I mean, look, he's like, I fell one time and I wasn't up for 3 weeks, but you got hit by a, what did he get hit by?
It was
Like a bobcat or?
Yeah, it was a bobcat.
Yeah, and you got run over by a bobcat and you're still here doing it? And then I look at him and I go, holy crap, this dude thinks I'm Jeramie Renner. And I'm like, yeah, thanks so much. And then I was like, and then I start shooting. I'm like, okay, he has to know that I'm not Jeramie Renner now.
Yeah.
And so Jeramie Renner doesn't show up for another 2 hours. He like comes in, he's like, walks, everybody's cheering. And then as he's coming in, I'm taking Jeramie Renner's pictures walking in. I'm like walking backwards. And I look at the dude, and the dude's just like wide-eyed going like, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't.
Just buddy.
But I never told him, so he could still think Jeramie Renner's a half Asian guy, photographer.
That just blows my mind.
It was
That
amazing.
makes me laugh so much.
And I was going to tell Renner the story, but he definitely bailed.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like, you know how many times they think we're the same guy?
buddy,
Yeah.
we're the exact same
What is
person.
happening? Yeah.
Look at us.
Do you need a backup?
I will be your stand-in.
Oh, yeah, that's
if
what
you
it is,
need
yeah.
it. When you need a Hawkeye to come in and replace somebody,
Yeah,
don't worry.
I'm a little bit bigger than him, so they could tell. But yeah, that was like the weirdest thing.
That's so
I
funny.
posted on my stories, and it was funny. It was a funny thing.
Just seeing him make the
Yeah.
wait.
And I still don't know if he did. Like, I don't know if he thought he was talking to Renner, and then now he like, oh, did I think I was talking to the wrong guy? Like, I don't know.
Did they do that thing where they did you have a name tag on?
No.
No. It's
And I was just setting up, and he like just, there's nobody talking, and I ended up leaving without saying anything to him.
Probably somebody said, "Oh yeah, Jeremy's over there."
Yeah, they're like, Jeramie Renner's going to come in today, and then they heard Jeramie, my name, so he put it together. And I'm like, my only hope is that he had no idea what Jeramie Renner looked like.
Yeah.
And then he just thought Jeramie Renner is a photographer now in Reno.
Yeah, it was like, wow, you were an actor, you got hit by a bobcat,
Yeah.
and you do photography
Yeah.
on the side?
Oh my God, the money's the same.
God, this guy's a saint.
Yeah, I'm a Marvel hero.
That's a pretty good story.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was funny.
That's awesome. And then, so another thing that kind of goes with the previous question that I asked, just to kind of put a bow on everything here. What is next for you? It's kind of the general question where you kind of have everything going on. What is next?
I'm 40. So honestly, in the photography side of it, I'm going to shoot for a little bit longer. I might focus on the mentoring side, the education side. I don't know what I want to do later on. I don't have plans of stopping photography anytime soon.
Yeah.
But right now, my kids are 17, 14, 12, and 5. Right? So the ultimate thing is just provide. Keep it going for them. Make sure that, we have the means to send them to lacrosse camps and karate camps.
Cross camps, nice.
Yeah, lacrosse is like
Lacrosse is fun.
the thing right now.
Which is funny because it wasn't
at
for the
all.
longest time.
Like they all have, like like I said, born and raised here, and I didn't even know lacrosse was a
My
thing.
coach in high school for football, he was my defensive coach. He was the one that brought lacrosse to Northern Nevada.
Oh, really?
Because he was from the East Coast.
Yeah.
Brought it here. He started up the lacrosse club in Spanish Springs and then put it to Worcester, McQueen, Reed, everybody, and he was the one that brought it all around.
They play at the Sports Dome now, and my daughter plays at Galena.
Nice.
But ultimately, yeah, man, it's just providing at this point. Like my life is my life now, but it's really my kids' life.
Yeah.
So
making the memories with them.
It is, and it's about making their life better than your life was. Mm-hmm. So everything I do is for them until we're empty nesters, and we'll figure out what Lindsay and I are going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also we're supporting Lindsay's new career, interior design. So she's doing that. She's going to Vegas and back and has these, multi-million-dollar jobs that she's designing.
That's great.
And then we're trying to get some more local stuff. So it's really just an entrepreneurship, man. It's just a hustle.
Yeah. Doing the thing with the kids too, because I know you guys just got back from Disneyland.
And then we came back for 2 days and then went back to SoCal to visit my wife's grandparents. So yeah, it's been a little much.
Just starting a resident down there.
Yeah, it's like I like traveling, but I hate traveling.
Yeah.
Also, they took my gel and my hairspray this time because I forgot that I wasn't checking a bag. So we threw everything on my shoulder, and I was like, oh, no, that hairspray's not cheap.
I don't want fop, dag
Yeah, and I'm like, thank you for taking my gel.
Yeah.
Save the plane.
I need my Dapper Dan. What are we doing? It's
just like, what are they doing? Like, somebody can take a crochet needle up in there that can definitely stab 3 people at the same time. But no, my hairspray and gel is what we have to confiscate that.
You think this just happens? Yeah. Come on, guys.
I'm like, you don't think I can do stuff with less than 3 ounces of gel on this plane?
Buddy, try me.
Yeah. 3 ounces of gel, a little bit of hairspray, some dry ice, and a mousse. Like, I can do this.
I can do it. Just let me try.
God, it's so stupid.
Get me on that plane.
Anyways, they still have it.
Jeramie, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. Before we get you out of here, go ahead and promote your socials one more time, websites, wherever you want anybody to find
just
you.
Jeramie Lu Photography, guys. JeramieLu.com, and then you can find me everywhere else. I do have a YouTube channel. I don't do too much with it. It's a lot of personal videos now, but you guys can definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. Other than that, JeramieLu.com for anything photo needs. If you have an idea, I can do it. If not, I can refer you out. But yeah, just check it out.
And not to be confused with Jeremy Renner.
Ooh. I'll buy that domain.
Because obviously they're twins. And you guys know what to do for us over here. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for our show, Light Style Studio for the studio here. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, sir.